Thank you very much to the chairs, and thank you to the audience for being here so early this morning. It's great to see you all. I would like to pick up exactly where Peter finished his presentation. So when we are talking about the Global Summit 2026, the Global Summit for Eye Health, just a reminder, if I can click through, of those aims and objectives that Peter mentioned, and picking up particularly on the idea of galvanising national action. As Dr. Rohit said, that is really the takeaway message there from Peter's presentation, is that the aim of the Global Summit for 2026 is to galvanise actions by encouraging our governments to deliver on the targets that they've already signed up to. Of course, also to bring new funders to the table, to champion technology and innovation in eye health, to agree an eye health roadmap and accountability framework for the next 10 years. The summit is a catalyst for sustained action. But in order to do this, we have to strongly engage with governments to ensure that they are part of the process, not only that they are attending the Global Summit in 2026, but also that they are part of the journey, that the journey begins now and it continues well beyond 2026, and that governments are engaged and part of this process. So how are we at IAPB undertaking this journey, and how can you, as the members of IAPB and the stakeholders of IAPB, be involved in the process? To begin with, we started to assess countries in our regions in a somewhat different way. We started to look at not only their eye health programs, but also started to look at the levels of influence that they may have within their regions. So if we have a look there, I've got Australia and Malaysia on the screen there, and we can see that we've started to map out where the power balances are. It's like a little bit like a checkerboard. So we can see, for instance, that Australia's involved in the South Pacific community, that it's involved in the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Group, and so on. We can see that Malaysia's also involved in APEC and ASEAN. We started to look at the language groups that countries look in, so that we can see how they also can start to map their influence across the regions. This was important to us when we were thinking about where to begin our targeting, where to start looking for champions. We then established a political and institutional engagement group. And you can see there some of the purposes, some of the actually quite lofty goals that we've set for ourselves. We want to ensure that at least 50 countries are participating in the 2026 Global Summit. We want to engage champion countries to promote the summit. So we're here in India this week, and we're talking to the ministry and many stakeholders about being champions for the summit. We want to ensure that that groundswell of commitments from countries across all WHO regions is really strong and evident, and ensuring that there are national level opportunities and challenges are considered, so that there is a feedback as well to us and to the stakeholders in terms of what will be delivered by the summit. In order to do this within the political and institutional engagement group, we set up a structure, a committee that consists of the IAPB regional chairs, and then underneath the IAPB regional chairs at the global level, we set up a regional and national engagement groups. In many instances, of course, the national engagement groups are already existing. We know, of course, of organisations in this room like Vision 2020 India. We know that you have engagement groups in Nepal, in Indonesia, and so on. So it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about finding ways to reach out to and engage those groups and ensure that they are understanding the information that is flowing from us about the summit, and also so that they can feed back information to the global group. The structure looks something quite like this. We have the political and institutional and governance group in the blue. We then have regional engagement groups and then national engagement groups. For those who are interested in being part of this process in this region, our regional chair, Dr. Rohit Khanna, is of course also the chair of the regional engagement group in the Sierra region, and Yuda and Indra, who are our Iapb leads in the region, are also very much a part of developing that regional strategy and talking to people in each individual country. I wanted to highlight an example of how this works from a region that is not represented in APAO. It's a relatively small country, and so it allows us to highlight the process in an effective way. We have here an example from Paraguay, and you might be wondering why there are tentacles hanging down from the top of the screen. That's because our friends in Paraguay decided that the model that we had developed looked a little bit like the tentacles of an octopus. You can see here that our friends in Paraguay mapped out the influencers and the decision makers in Paraguay. They included not only the Iapb members in the country, but also the members of various professional bodies. It included people within the Ministry of Health who they felt should know about the summit, but also could influence the government authorities to take decisions about the summit. Right over in the bottom corner is the Minister of Health, Dr. Maria Teresa Baran. And it was decided that in mapping the situation in Paraguay, she was the number one decision maker. It was Dr. Baran who could decide whether or not Paraguay would be a champion for the summit. And at the end of November last year, we went as a group and met with Dr. Baran, and yes, she agreed to be a champion for the summit. The first champion country in Latin America is in fact Paraguay. So that's how the program of national engagement for the summit will work. As I said, in this region you have a very strong leadership team in Dr. Rohit, in YD and Indra, so please reach out to them if you're interested in being involved in this political and institutional engagement process. Thank you.